Fam, good morning. What's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys being here today on the show. We are talking about this huge recruiting weekend. Big-time prospects coming into Tuscaloosa. We're going to talk about the updated injury report going into this SEC marquee matchup. We're going to talk about X factors in this game. Which players need to rise up for Alabama to beat Georgia? We're going to talk about Kirby Smart versus Kalen DeBoer and what I feel is round one. Either they play one time this year, which I think they'll play more times this year. That's just my personal opinion. And I want to ask you, do you think that this game will be close? All right, all that coming up right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Please let me know where you're watching from inside the comment box. Max, Rocket Town, Bama Pete, Linda, Case, Todd Tipton, what's going on? Tough as Nails, and Cruz. Good morning, my early risers. I appreciate you, and as we always do on our morning shows, is we practice gratitude, right? So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm really thankful for you guys giving me the opportunity to talk Alabama football with you guys, and thank you so much for joining me on today's show. Let me ask you this. Like, going into this game, you have like a level of anxiety, right? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your level of anxiety? My level of anxiety is pretty low, honestly. I feel, you already know how I feel about this game, and I talked about this yesterday. I feel that after watching Georgia, I do have more respect for their offense. I think last week I was probably overly confident in that Alabama would be able to run the table and that the defense would be able to shut down Georgia. Now, look, I'm not saying that Georgia's going to score, 28, 35 points. I don't think it'll be a shootout or anything like that. But I just feel that, understanding Georgia's offense a little bit more, I have more respect for them. And plus, Carson Beck, I mean, shoot, the guy, if he's not drafted as the number one quarterback, he could be drafted as number two. Guy's been here for a while. He's done a lot of things with Georgia. Last year, he faced Alabama in the SEC title, came up short, didn't throw a touchdown. He's got to be hungry for another redemption chance. It's on a national stage. So you got some big-time prospects in this game. So all that and more coming up right here on Bama Football on YouTube. But most importantly, give me a roll tide inside the comment box. My goodness. It's Tuesday. It is almost game day. And you could feel it. Last night, my son had a JV football game against Central. All right, so if you've been to Tuscaloosa, you've driven down 15th, you got Central High School. And from what I now have learned is that there just used to be Central High School. Right now, living in Tuscaloosa for 8 years, there used to be just Central High School. And from what I understand, they absolutely dominated in terms of high school athletics. Now, since they've added new schools like, Paul Bear Bryant, they've added Northridge. Central has now, I think they're like, I know for a fact they're in 6A because they're in Northridge Conference. So last night we go to the game. I'm at Central High School. I can't even imagine all the top players that used to play at that field. It's kind of an iconic field here in Tuscaloosa, right? And if I'm trying to think of the running back, was it because I know Bo went to Northridge. Brian Robinson went to Hillcrest. I know there's some. Help me out. If you're from Tuscaloosa, who are some big time prospects that have come out of Central High School? I'm sure there's a ton of them. All right. So last night I'm at the game, and kind of in the far right, you can see Bryant-Denny Stadium, just kind of the top of the stadium. Man, you saw tons of helicopters flying around the stadium. Actually, there wasn't tons. There was 2 of them, and I think they were just circling, getting an idea for security, right? With, Trump coming in, all the celebrities coming in. So Coach Kalen DeBoer was asked about that yesterday. He said, look, there's a ton of people that want to watch this game. Can't wait to see it. But just kind of seeing that I think like sets the stage of like what is to come. Here's an updated weather look at this game. I know we've been tracking this, and this is from our friends, North Alabama Storm Chase. I see him inside the comment box. He sent me this morning. So when you look to this game, I know a lot of people were worried about the hurricane coming in. It looks like all that is going to blow out, and it looks like there might be a little bit of rain for this game. As you can see, here's the precipitation model. I like doing the weather, kind of like standing to the weather, like looking at it, right? doing like the weather forecast. So the daily forecast, it looks like for game time, there could be some light showers in that morning range, but I think we should be good to go. In fact, here's what it looks like for the forecast for Alabama versus Georgia, right? There's a 20% chance of precipitation. Again, we are just in Tuesday. Looks like the temperature will be beautiful at 63 degrees, and it looks like it'll be calm, and that's kind of the weather report. Remember, I told you we would have a daily weather report leading up to this game, and that's courtesy of North Alabama Storm Chase. Please follow them on Facebook. Check it out. They have a really good Facebook page, so definitely check it out. I see you guys inside the comment box. Thank you very much for being here. Oh, thanks, Todd, for helping me out, man. Antonio Williams from Central. There's got to be a ton. And I imagine on the replay when people are watching this, they'll load it up with some names from Central High School. All right. Okay. This weekend is gigantic. So before I go to this graphic, let me go to this real quick, and I'll bring it full monitor. So some marquee guys that are committed elsewhere, and of course, Keelan Russell are there at the bottom. I'll talk about each of these guys starting up at the top. Keelan Russell's the 5-star, is committed to Alabama, ultra talented. But Justice Terry coming in, he's a 5-star out of the state of Georgia, and I honestly feel that the winner of this game is going to take a huge momentum jump in terms of his recruitment. He came to Tuscaloosa. He's been here before. I can't even imagine the excitement for him to be able to come, get the royal treatment from the Crimson Tide, and hopefully see Alabama beat Georgia. Because I think when we talk about kind of what's at stake later on this week, Justice Terry could be at stake. You're talking about an elite 5-star talent that could be added to this class, which you certainly want. And so he's uncommitted, undecided. I think it's just between Alabama and Georgia at this point in time. Let's see what happens. Hey, Jenny Cackney is here. What's up, Jenny? Everybody hit our pink ribbons. As you know, she's doing an amazing job fighting cancer. She's a huge Alabama fan. So if you guys could really quick, please hit the pink emojis. It's a ribbon inside the comment box. All right. So welcome on in, Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here talking about the top recruits coming into town. Justice Terry, of course, everybody wants him. And like I said, whoever wins this game, I think takes a big step forward in landing the 5-star defensive lineman out of the state of Georgia. Can't wait to see it. And I can't even imagine how excited he is to be able to come in, talk with Coach Kalen DeBoer, talk with Coach Freddie Roach, and kind of understand how this defense would utilize his talents, right? Looking at that bandit position, looking at the Alabama defensive front, you got to be excited. Absolutely. Ivan Taylor and Malachi Toney, each of those prospects are out of the state of Florida. Now, I've spoken about this before. Alabama does not have a current commitment from the state of Florida, which is a little bit interesting considering that was Nick Saban's pipeline. Look, Coach Kalen DeBoer has made California his early pipeline, and it's still early. None of these guys have signed, but Ivan Taylor is a prospect that was committed to Notre Dame, and then he flipped his commitment to Michigan. Now, he has a really good relationship with Courtney Morgan, right? We continue to hear Courtney Morgan's name being mentioned in recruiting as the GM and all of the great things that he's done here early in his career at the University of Alabama. So I would watch this. The thing is, even when you compare Michigan following their national championship last year, look at kind of where we are with the brand of Alabama football. I'm telling you, the ratings for this game are going to be extraordinary. If you want to play in front of the brightest lights, Alabama can get you there. And also, you look at what Alabama continues to do from an NFL development standpoint. Kalen DeBoer sent 10 from Washington. All right? So I think we're certainly watching Ivan Taylor. Todd feels that Alabama has a good chance in flipping him. Another prospect is Derek Smith. We'll talk about him in just a second. He's committed to Auburn. But let me talk about Malachi Toney, who's a wide receiver that is committed to Miami. Now, he's coming over here to Tuscaloosa, kind of get a taste of, what Tuscaloosa has to offer. Now, if you're him, I'm sure he's excited about what Miami has, right? And where Miami is as a program. But I'm telling you, there's a big difference between the University of Alabama and Miami, all right? Because There's nothing like the college football pageantry that you have here at the University of Alabama, along with the stability of the program. The new coaches, can you imagine Malachi Tony coming in and working with, Jamarcus Shepard, getting the taste of that type of energy, what he brings, along with seeing the other Alabama wide receivers that are getting developed and the other wide receivers that are playing right now. Now, Ryan Williams kind of highlights that freshman group, but we talk about Rico Scott. He's played. And Caleb Odom, he's catching passes, right? You also have Latsier Brooks in that class of 2025, a prospect that we are all excited about. Derek Smith, who is currently committed to Auburn, he was at one point in time committed to Alabama, then flipped his commitment along with Antonio Coleman. And you got to be thinking, if you're a prospect that has committed to Auburn, or any of the prospects that are committed to Auburn that are in-state prospects, what is the trajectory of Auburn right now? We've talked about this before, man. I can't even imagine how it feels to be an Auburn football fan. I can't imagine how it feels to be a player. I can't imagine how it is to be Hugh Freeze. I mean, former players are attacking him on social media. Other players that, like these young people, they're reading this. They're seeing the trajectory. Honestly, it seems like the barn is kind of burning. Now, these guys haven't signed official documents to go here or there. And I got to think that they're starting to look to Tuscaloosa and seeing the bright lights and what Coach Kalen DeBoer has done. Also, like, he's winning. He's got a great demeanor. And the biggest thing, too, look at his staff. Like, man, his staff is elite. I don't know how long these guys will be here because they are that good, but I promise you that Courtney Morgan, I mean, he would have already left. Alabama took care of him. So you know that Coach Kalen DeBoer and Courtney Morgan, those two guys are going to be the foundation. Tack on Jeff Allen, tack on David Ballou. Those are some pillars of this program, right? I think the other coaches, they're going to get opportunity because they are just that good. But, man, you look at Auburn, if you're an in-state guy and you're committed there, you start to talk with your family and you're like, man, like, look, what is happening here? Let me ask you this, Undefeated, and I appreciate the 104 that are watching right now. Do you think that Auburn will have another coaching change within the next, let's say, 2 seasons? Yes or no? Honestly, I know Hugh just got here, but do you think that they'll have a coaching change within 2 years? They might. Yes or no? Inside the comment box. I don't know how long Hugh Freeze stays. I know that he played Coach Saban well. But other than that, you got to look at the trajectory of where things are going with Auburn. I don't know. I mean, it's not good. Okay? It's not good. So if you're a recruit out there and you're looking at the two programs, clearly Alabama has something exceptional going on. Look, a lot of us in the Undefeated feel that they're going to be a coaching change at some point in time. Here's kind of a snapshot overview, and I encourage you to go check out your recruiting sites. They have a really in-depth list in terms of prospects from the class of 2026, class of 2027 that are visiting this weekend. I mean, some big-time prospects, 5 stars, future talent. So your recruiting sites have that all covered. Here's the huge weekend, kind of at a snapshot. More guys that are committed to Alabama, like A.K. Deary's a running back, Caleb Cunningham, those two guys, each from the state of Mississippi, Chuck McDonald and Dejon Lee out of the state of California, Duke Johnson. We talked about Justice Terry and Ty Haywood along with Keelan Russell, each of those guys out of the Lone Star State. So it is a giant weekend of recruiting. And I think, having a prospect in like Keelan Russell, I think really sets the tone because he is making national headlines. Well, by the way, like Latsier Brooks is basically on ESPN all the time making like mossing people, right? Keelan Russell is the focal point because he's the quarterback. Coach Kalen DeBoer made a trip to go see him, according to reports, during this last game, all right? He puts up some big-time numbers, 351 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. He's averaging 321 yards passing per game. I think he has 14 touchdowns through the air. He's doing an incredible job this year. Not only receivers want to play for him, but I think players on both sides of the football understand that's the trajectory of Alabama. You get this guy in who is the Elite 11 MVP, right? the On3 MVP this summer at their event. Same thing with Rivals. You look at how he conducts himself, very professional, super mature. Look, I don't know if he makes a push next year. I mean, you got Ty Simpson coming back. You got Dylan Lonergan. You got Austin Mack. I mean, the quarterback room is really, really healthy. Keelan Russell, man, I'm telling you, you watch his highlights. You see the way he moves in the pocket. You see the way he's able to move. And you see his deep ball ability. Man, Jarvis is right, man. Inside the comment box, Keelan Russell continues the pipeline of dynamic Alabama quarterbacks. This guy looks exceptional, as 5-stars do. You're going to say that freshmen don't play here? Now there's 20 freshmen or so that have played here at the University of Alabama. One, who's 17 years old, who got some great comments from Kirby Smart. You see that? Kirby Smart hyping up Brian Williams, giving him respect. Guys are absolutely balling out. So that's kind of a look at what's happening on this recruiting spectacular. I appreciate you guys being here and, liking the content. So thank you very much. And we'll continue to keep you updated on new names that come in or recruiting updates as they happen right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Another look at Keelan Russell. And as I said, I mean, this last Friday night, 18 of 23, 351 yards, 6 touchdowns. This guy has it. I can't wait to see him when he gets to Alabama. Like, the excitement of these 5-stars is something, but, I don't know. I can just kind of feel it with Keelan Russell. Look at the Alabama injury report going into this weekend's game against Georgia. Now you see it's mostly positive. Credit to, number one, thank goodness that these guys have remained healthy. But even when there's been nicks, cuts, scrapes, I don't know, twisted arms, it's worked out well for Alabama. Thank goodness, right? You've seen a lot of players recently headlining college football, some marquee talented players going out with season-ending injuries. I get it. It's part of the game that we play in. Thankfully that, these guys are healthy, and it looks very positive for Alabama. Coach Kalen DeBoer gave a positive update on Cole Adams yesterday. Said it's kind of still, I don't know, it seemed like day-to-day to me. Now, Koya Russo, it seemed like a very positive update. And he's keeping a lot of this information close because I'm sure they don't have a 100% idea of where he's going to be for Georgia. But I kind of get a feel that Koya will be good to go for this Georgia game. Malachi Moore, he's good to go. He passed the protocol. He's good to go. And Richard Young, it looks like that's another positive update. Maybe a game-time decision. He's the third-string running back right now behind Justice and Jam. Well, I guess you could say he's the second running back, right? Because Justice and Jam kind of, 1 and 2. Marcus, what's up, man? 11111. I see you inside the comment box. And Metallica, Alabama, what's going on? He says, I love what Kane Womack said about the defense hasn't shown much. That's scary for the rest of college football. As we talk about Alabama and Georgia here coming up, and I list X factors for this particular game, I think you hit on a really interesting point right there, Metallica, because I haven't seen a lot of pressure from Jahad Campbell or Deontay Lawson. They're two inside linebackers. And I think at some point in time, maybe I would assume it's this Saturday against Carson Beck, these guys are going to bring it, right? They've been sitting pressure off the edge, and you have Q Rob, who leads the team in sacks with 3. But in terms of interior pressure, considering that Tate Ratledge, Georgia's starting right guard, is out of this game, I'm going heavy. Got to get to Carson Beck. As I mentioned, Tate Ratledge is out of this game. He's our starting right guard. Suffered an ankle injury against Kentucky. He had the tightrope surgery, and he is out against Alabama. That's huge. And I said this yesterday. Can you imagine being without Tyler Booker or Jaden Roberts for this game? We already went through it with Caden Proctor against Western Kentucky and South Florida, and that wasn't fun. And from what I understand, Case, it looks like Ratledge will probably be out, 4 or 5 games. Brock Bowers came back from the tightrope surgery last year, as did, Tua had to go through that. If you've ever seen how the tightrope surgery is done, like, modern medicine is amazing. There's diagrams. I went and watched it when Tua had to have it. What they're able to do, just incredible. Chris from New Jersey is asking about the weather. It looks like the weather is going to be great for Saturday night. It looks like kickoff should be around 63 degrees. Slight possibility of rain. There you go. There's a and I'm saying this because North Alabama Storm Chase has been sending me emails with the weather, which I appreciate. See, 20% chance of rain. Calm winds around 63 degrees for kick time. 6 p.m. on ESPN. Now, as we dive into this Week 5 matchup this Saturday here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we talked about the fact that the line is moving. I mean, Jarvis said yesterday it's at 1.5. I would imagine as we get closer to kick that Alabama is favored or it's a pick 'em. I still feel that Alabama is the favorite in this game, and that's not being fancy. I just feel that Alabama is the better team. Now, I have gained a better appreciation for Georgia, watching their quarterback, watching their weapons on offense. And look, their defense, when you look statistically at what their defense has done, specifically in the secondary, they're great. They have elite talent that I think will challenge Alabama's wide receivers. Their pass rush, I think when you start to look at the X factors, I list, and you'll see that graphic in just a minute, I list Elijah Pritchett at the right tackle position as an X factor. This guy has to have the game of his life against Georgia. Now, does this game determine, the SEC title? No. But I think it kind of gauges where this Alabama offensive line is, because after this game, you got Vanderbilt, right? Then you got South Carolina. Then you got, the heavy hitters. It's not going to stop. Like yesterday, they asked Kirby Smart. I love this answer. They were like, if you beat Alabama, then what? And he's like, prepare for Auburn. Like, the SEC is a gauntlet. And we're going to find out if Alabama has a real issue at the right tackle position. That's something that we can't deal with. So big opportunity for Elijah Pritchett or the right tackle, whoever it's going to be. I don't know. They said it's going to be a competition throughout the season. When you look at the key matchups in this game, I'll go ahead and reiterate this. Georgia's offensive line against Alabama's pass rush. I want to see some interior pass rush from the Alabama linebackers. I would love to see Jahad Campbell and Deontay Lawson coming after Carson Beck. Carson Beck versus Alabama secondary. I think that's going to be a hell of a matchup. This secondary is untested. Darius, inside the comment box, has Georgia 48, Alabama 23. That would be remarkable if you're able to keep Alabama under 30 points this season. For anybody if there's a team to do it, I don't know. Congratulations to you, because this team has so many weapons and that quick strike ability. Or even on special teams, man, like this team can score in many different ways. Kirby Smart was talking about this yesterday. He said that they have designed big plays, and then they also have plays that are just big plays because of the playmakers that they have. By the way, if you didn't watch Kirby Smart's press conference, I encourage you to go check it out. The reporters in Athens asked him a lot of questions, not so much about Coach Kalen DeBoer, but asked him about Nick Saban. Kind of like silly questions, like, what do you think of Nick Saban on TV? It's like, it has nothing to do with this weekend's game. They asked him, what are your thoughts on coming to Tuscaloosa with Nick Saban not as the coach? Nothing to this game, right? Darius is saying, keep an eye out for London Humphrey. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. We appreciate all of the, people coming in for this weekend's game. And remember, during the game, we watch it with you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Chris has it 43-24. And we'll do, we do score predictions on Friday. But if you're feeling like throwing in a score prediction, throw it in. Oh, by the way, my Friday show, I have a Friday doctor's appointment at 9 a.m. So I'm pushing my Friday show to 12. Hopefully I'm done by that point in time. So 12 p.m. on Friday. Write it down on a sticky. I got Jalen Milroe versus Georgia's defense. I have no idea how you stop Jalen Milroe. Jack, what's going on, man? I appreciate you being here. Ron, I don't know if Jalen Hell or Jeremiah Alexander will play this season. I have no idea. I would probably say no on Jalen Hell, but then again, Jeff Allen does amazing things. How are you going to stop Jalen Milroe if you're Georgia's defense? I don't know. You could send pressure. Then he's able to dump it off to his running backs on screens, or he's able to hit some guys on some screens or some jet sweeps. He can kill you running the football. I mean, I don't know. Georgia's going to have a really difficult time stopping everybody in college football is. I mean, this is a guy that is, in my opinion, the best player in college football. I've said that a million different times. He keeps winning. He's ultra challenging to defend for 100 different reasons. Alabama's offensive line versus Georgia's pass rush. You know, I am a little bit concerned about this. I am concerned about the right tackle position. Look, Elijah Pritchett, this could be some rat poison for you. I think if I'm a Georgia fan, I'm excited about going after Elijah Pritchett. I am. That's where I'm going to send pressure. If I'm looking to pick on Alabama, I'm going after their secondary and I'm going after their right tackle position, and I'm sending pressure. And I'm doing it again and again and again until you can stop me. I'm sending as much heat as I can on Jalen Milroe, and I'm targeting Pritchett. Because we are yet to see if Alabama has an A+ right tackle. Because if we were to take off our fans' hats and like really grade the offensive line on the right side, I think our grades would be a little bit lower, or we would have more uncertainty about the right side. And against the secondary, yeah, we like our secondary, but they haven't been challenged at all. We have clips of the guys being beaten with wide receivers behind them. The quarterback just haven't been able to get the football to them. So is that concerning? Yeah. But it's also an opportunity for these guys to rise up and to play at a high level, right? I also think Alabama's run game versus Georgia's defense, that's going to be a hell of a matchup as well. Last year, Georgia got a taste of Jam Miller. They were the first ones to taste that Jam Miller Kool-Aid. See, Garrett, thank you, man. I appreciate you. If we know that, Georgia knows that. But Georgia also knows that Jam Miller's coming with it. And they also know that they missed out on Justice Haynes, right? From Georgia. I don't know if Alabama has to sustain drives. I would like it. It's fun to see a long 17-play drive, but I think they have too much quick strike ability. Jalen Milroe's deep ball. You're going to put points on the board. But if they have to sustain drives, or if you get into a situation where you have to milk the clock, Jam Miller is the perfect running back to do that. He's bringing a lot this season. Jam Miller is playing at a very, very high level. He's playing like one of the best running backs in all of college football. And we haven't even seen, we've kind of just seen like the tip of the iceberg with Justice Haynes. We looked at this graphic a couple different times. This is head-to-head. And again, when you look at Jalen Milroe, that is just his passing stats. Those are not his total yards. He has 746 total yards, and he has 14 touchdowns. You can add to Carson Beck. He has 55 yards rushing. I think Lovett has a touchdown, and Ryan Williams has 4 touchdowns, right? This Woodring kid right here, this field goal kicker for Georgia, when you look at X factors for Georgia, I think he could certainly be one of them. He has a kick good from 50 yards. Georgia always has good field goal kickers. He's one of them. He's been doing a great job. And I think the last time I checked out the ESPN match indicator, it had Alabama as a 65% favorite, as opposed to Vegas, which I think still has Georgia as a 1.5-point favorite. Before I get to my X factors, let's just look a minute at Carson Beck. He could be taken as the number 1 or the number 2 quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft. 6'4", 220 pounds. One thing that stood out to me, and I know he's only rushed for 55 yards this year, but if he does have to get out of the pocket, he can move a little bit. Like he's not going to be he's not that easy to stop. I mean, he can get out and he can run a little bit. 28 career games, 5,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, 56 of 82 this season. Yet to throw an interception. And again, I highlighted that he's rushed for 55 yards. Last season against Alabama, he was 21 to 29, 243 yards, 72%. Didn't throw a touchdown in that game. Alabama won the SEC title thanks to a huge performance by Jalen Milroe. This is one of the continuing things that I see, and I've showed this a couple different times, is when I watch Georgia, nobody gets pressure on these guys. Nobody. And nobody really sends pressure. That's why I think it's imperative to send pressure up the middle, which Alabama hasn't really done, probably just by design. But I would love to see Jahar Campbell get a couple sacks. The wolf position, if Quay is good to go, send him. Q-Rob's been having an outstanding season. But Georgia's offensive line minus Tate Ratledge, I'm looking for opportunities. Talked about this many different times. If you saw my Chalk Talk video, Carson Beck has weapons. He does. I mean, he can spin the football to a variety of wide receivers. I mentioned Dom Lovett, but he has plenty of different guys that he can go to. ATN, I think he's a very explosive running back. Didn't play in week 1 because of a suspension, but he's ultra capable. Very good running back. When I look at the overall X factors in this game, and I would like some feedback on this. Inside the comment box, undefeated, this is for you. Who are your X factors, or like who comes to mind when you think X factors versus Georgia? I think it's easy to list clearly like a Jalen Milroe. But like, who do you think is a X factor against Georgia? Go ahead and post your X factor or factors inside the comment box. Here are mine. I came up with this morning. I'll go full monitor on it. So I have Jalen Milroe and just his takeover ability, similar to what we saw against Georgia in the SEC title game. Like, yo, I get it. There's a small percentage that would like to for some reason see a different quarterback stop. Like, when the bullets really start flying and like it really gets heavy, Jalen Milroe has that ability to like take over the game, to give you the momentum swing that you need, to break a huge play. Like, he is the guy. He has it. So that takeover ability, right? We've all played basketball. We've all played different sports. Like, sometimes a guy is just like has it, right? There's 5 seconds left. Who are you giving the ball to? Like, he has it. And you can be like, show me when. Okay. The final possession of the SEC title game. Or how about the 4th and 31? Yo, the 4th and 31, like, that's up there with one of the greatest plays, right, of Iron Bowl history. 4th and 31, the dude comes out and throws an absolute dot to Jermaine Burton, right? Jermaine Burton got his first catch with the Bengals. The second player I listed is kind of a 1-2 combination. I think Jam and Justice. This is probably the game that Alabama is going to need to rely on these guys the most. They got light work against Wisconsin and against, South Florida. Well, South Florida, Jam had to do some work for sure. But like Justice, they only had to use him 2 times. Come on. If you need to sustain drives, if you need to play time of possession, and Coach DeBoer talked about that yesterday, you can rely on these running backs. Kind of the problem is for these running backs is these guys aren't like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. These guys are each averaging over, 8 yards a carry. So, I mean, and they're each capable of literally like, hey, let's milk the clock. These guys are capable of busting out like an 82-yard touchdown run. You got to chew the clock, play time of possession, specifically against a good quarterback like Carson Beck. But what are you going to do? Tell these guys to run out of bounds? All right, let's see some of the X factors inside the comment box. We go to Case, who is saying his top 5 X factors: Jalen Milroe, LT Overton, Ryan Williams, Malachi Moore, and a power run game. I like that. Max Tooney chipping in saying 4th and 31 is a once in a lifetime. Absolutely. Remember like many years ago on NCAA football, the video game, where you had to play like sports greatest moments? Do you remember this? And it would like line you up. You had to play like the Doug Flutie play. You had to do a couple different, like, oh, you had to do when it Cordell Stewart threw the pass, the Hail Mary against Michigan. Like that 4th and 31, like throwing the trajectory, I would love if they did like a sports science of like how fast and how accurate that football had to be. Because we see like 4th and 31, we're like, oh, wow, it's incredible. But like the science behind it probably blow our minds. Jarvis is saying for his X factors, Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack. I love that. One of the things that each of the coaches spoke about yesterday during their opening press conferences is the fact that Alabama has a new staff and a new game plan. And Kane Womack said their staff has been together for a long time. In fact, a reporter asked about T-Rob, right? Travarius Robinson going from Alabama to Georgia. He was like, what has he kind of told you anything about Alabama? He's like, not really. It's a new staff. It's a completely new game plan. But I mean, what an opportunity. When I listen to Coach Kane Womack, I love this, Jarvis. These are Jarvis's X factors. When I think about Kane Womack, I see a head coach. It's like listening to a head coach. Now, I don't know. It doesn't seem like, I think he'll eventually be a big time coach, like an SEC coach. Maybe not soon, but I see him being already a head football coach somewhere else. Like that's what I feel when I'm listening to him. His demeanor, he's never satisfied. I get that. Nick Sheridan I don't think he's there yet, but this will be a hell of an opportunity for him to grow this entire season. He's done a really good job. Look, we saw him up in the box, a couple times, kind of stressed out, showing some emotion. But this is a big opportunity, a really big stage for him. How can you utilize the best player in college football in Jalen Milroe? How can you utilize these running backs? How can you fight, right? What can you do in a big game? All eyes are on this game. What will the ratings be? Like 11 million, 15? Like what do you think it's going to be? I would imagine like this is such a huge opportunity for everyone in the college football world. This is like early Christmas. I listed Elijah Pritchett as an X factor. This is his moment. Show us what you can do against Georgia. Where are you at? How can we improve on the offensive line? Where are we at early on in this season, going into SEC play? Max Tooney says it's going to be the most watched game of the year. Yeah, for sure. During the regular season? Yeah. Kevin, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here. So I'm definitely watching Elijah Pritchett. And you know how critical we were of Wilcom Formby. I don't know. Does he still get reps in a game like this? Nick Sheridan said that these guys are working. There'll be a competition all season long. X factors on the defensive side of the ball. I started with LT Overton, the wolf position in the inside linebackers. Like pressure. Coach Kane Womack spoke about this. This is actually the first question he was asked about yesterday. How important is getting pressure on Carson Beck? This is probably the biggest thing in this football game. Probably these next 2 points. You have to get pressure on Carson Beck. You have to. You cannot. If he's allowed time in the pocket, he will be effective. Now, does effective mean that Georgia beats Alabama? It could. But you need some big turnovers in this game. You need some momentum changes. A lot of that comes from Alabama's defense. I get it. We play in grass basketball world, but Alabama fans still appreciate a big-time defensive hit, a turnover. It's what they're used to. It's in their blood. The Alabama fans are more defense than they are offense. And I get it. We're changing a little bit now, but like their DNA is mostly made up of defense. So getting pressure on Carson Beck, a quality quarterback who really hasn't been touched this year, is imperative. You pressure him again. I pressure him as many times as possible, and I rely on that secondary, which is young and untested. So that's That's the other thing. And Kane Womack said that yesterday. He said, we have to figure out a way to get to the quarterback without sacrificing, these guys in man coverage and them getting eaten up, right? Because if you're sending the house, you're in man coverage situations. The secondary, they haven't been challenged. And I love the guys back there. I have more confidence in the safeties than I do in the corners right now, just because I haven't seen the corners go against elite competition. But I feel, from what I see from the safeties, I feel they're vets. I feel they're playing at a very high level. You look at their Pro Football Focus grades, they're extremely high. Now, with that said, I think they've played over 100 snaps this year in man coverage. And that's with Xavier Brown and Damani Jackson. This is another big opportunity for Damani Jackson. I could see him making a big play. I promise you, Georgia is going after Xavier Brown. They're going after him and Red Morgan. As soon as they see those guys on the field, they are going after them. So you have to have help over the top from Malachi, Xavier. Ty does model. What's up, man? Appreciate you being here. He believes in the secondary. You have the talent back there. These guys are young. What an opportunity to get better. And look, is this the championship? No. But these guys could see each other again. And look, you look down the road at Alabama's schedule, these aren't going to be the only elite wide receivers or elite quarterback that you face. But I do feel good about Keon Sabb at the safety position. Same with Malachi. Those guys are really, really good. It's crazy that we don't even think about, me or you guys inside the comment box. Sometimes we'll bring it up about Caleb Downs, but and I watched him play against Marshall. He was balling. You didn't miss a beat with Keon Sabb coming in. You literally, you did not go down at all a grade in the secondary, which is hats off to the Alabama coaching staff to be able to get a quality prospect like Keon Sabb. Huge addition in the transfer portal. I didn't list this in the X factors, but special teams is such a critical component of each game. Graham Nicholson, you got to come with it, man. This is it. We know that, the Wisconsin next play mentality, next game mentality. You got to come with it. You need impressive performance from James Burnap. He is such a weapon for Alabama as the punter. And who do you think will be returning punts? Jalen Mbakwe? In a big-time game like this, I know you guys are going to hate what I'm about to say. I put Ryan Williams back there. I don't know. Late game situation, big-time punt return for a touchdown. The stadium would seriously cause an earthquake. But I think early in the game, you go with Jalen Mbakwe. Big situation, you put Ryan Williams back there. And then you put stress on the punter because they're don't punt to him. Now, if you're a fan funder, I did this earlier in the week. I think this could be critical for Alabama, and it's basically an RPO. So what you have here is Kentucky was able to move the football a few times on Georgia running this particular formation. So you have, you have a running back in the backfield, you have two wide receivers, and you have a tight end, right? So basically it's an RPO. In this particular case, he's going to give it to the running back who's going to be able to pick up a first down. Kentucky's running back is not like Jam Miller, okay? Now, also, Kentucky does not have a quarterback like Jalen Milroe. So if Jalen Milroe decides to keep this, and in this particular clip, all of the inside linebackers were sucked in, Jalen Milroe probably runs for a touchdown if you get a good block from the outside. Let's say Kendrick Law comes out and cleans that safety, right? So I think this could be certainly an area that Alabama utilizes in terms of RPOs. That's why I look to Jalen Milroe have a really big game against Georgia. Now, looking at this first head-to-head battle of what I feel will probably be many between Kirby Smart and Coach Kalen DeBoer, I think we all have a lot of respect for Coach Kirby Smart and what he's been able to do. I posted this. I started up this Facebook account. It's really active. I think we have 25,000 members there. And I asked I basically treated it like my website. I don't have a website. I bring everything to YouTube, but like in terms of like graphics, comments, the Facebook page has been pretty active, way more active than I thought. But yesterday, a lot of people had appreciation for Kirby Smart for what he's been able to do at Georgia, learning from Coach Saban, right? And the numbers speak for itself. Like, none of this is made up. I mean, these are all statistical numbers that you can't, I mean, this is it. I mean, 2 national titles, 21 and 22. This number is crazy. 42-2 since 2021. Like, that's crazy to me. 57-9 in SEC play. Henry in with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Henry. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Honestly, thank you very much. He's 9-2 in bowl games, 5-1 in the college football playoffs, 2-time SEC champ, won the East 6 times. He's had a top 5 recruiting class each year since 2017. Overall, at Georgia, 91-16. He could win. He should probably win his 100th game coaching at Georgia this year, which is very impressive. Yesterday, he was very complimentary of Ryan Williams. Said that Jalen Milroe has made big jumps in terms of his passing efficiency and just his overall delivery. So, you know, it's sometimes fun to make fun of like former coaches and stuff like that, but I think we definitely respect here at Alabama like Steve Sarkisian, Kirby Smart, because those guys, I mean, they have their programs absolutely rolling. And you do have a little bit of, like, Kirby Smart, he has a little bit of nastiness to him. Like, that's just him. But I do feel that he has more pressure on him than Coach Kalen DeBoer because, you know, if you don't beat Alabama, is it like an Alabama thing that you can't beat Alabama? Right? Like, why can't you beat Alabama? I mean, you have the resources that Georgia has. And look, as much as I love the high school football talent in Alabama, it's not the same as Georgia. I mean, you play the SEC championship game 45 minutes from Athens. It's literally your home field. And Alabama pretty much owns you there. You look at what Coach Kalen DeBoer has done in his short time at the University of Alabama. I always start with the top. Landing Ryan Williams was such a kickoff to the class of 2024, or kind of the M piece, right? Like an absolutely slam dunk. Bringing in Courtney Morgan was fantastic. You look at how he's been able to build up Alabama's recruiting class, the roster management. You saw him on the next wave with Ryan Williams. Like, this is the guy. Like, everybody is looking at Alabama and being like, man, we wish we had Courtney Morgan. We wish we had that guy. The coaching staff has been great. Now, early on, we can judge the coaching staff in different spots, right? Like right now, I feel that they're running on all cylinders. They've done a great job recruiting, doing a great job on the field. A lot of energy from these younger guys. The transfer portal has been really strong for Alabama. You look at the transfers that have been playing on the field for the Crimson Tide. Crushed it. Kevin in with another $5 super chat. Yeah, Kevin, what's up, man? I appreciate it. He says defense will win this game. You know, in these critical games, you know, defense has to rise up. I feel that, man, I feel, and see, Kevin, I think, you know, defense comes with it. If they get pressure on Carson Beck, you know, that's going to allow Alabama, whatever they're running with in terms of like a quick strike, if they're able to play some time of possession, I don't know. But I like that. And then most importantly, Coach Kalen DeBoer winning on the field. Now 3-0 on the season. Hey, Run the Table Sports. What's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Thanks for being here, bro. Same thing with you, Lance. Thank you so much. We looked at the top 25. We looked at the SEC standings. We looked at the Heisman Watch. I was surprised on this now that I've kind of glanced over it. Again, this is from Vegas Insider. Cam Ward up at the top, plus 350. No Travis Hunter. I think there's some other Travis Hunter. I think like On3 had him as their number one choice. The guy's playing over like 140 snaps. We still haven't figured out who the guest picker is going to be for game day. I know a lot of people have gone back and forth on who they want. I would like to see Miss Terry. That's my pick. I just love Miss Terry's energy. And I see because Terran Arnold has such great energy. I remember talking with him last year at the Rose Bowl. That was such a highlight of my career because I look at someone like Terran Arnold and like, have you ever met somebody who just has like really good energy? He's like a really good person. Like that's immediately what I got from Terran Arnold. And you look at him as a man and kind of where he's going, man, and the Lions have some guys from Bama. We looked at Carson Beck's targets, kind of just rehashing some of these graphics. These are the transfers, how they performed this season at the University of Alabama. Just kind of a snapshot. Jeremy Bernard clearly doing work. 8 receptions, 125 yards. Parker Brailsford, 152 snaps. The center, LT Overton, who's playing absolutely through the roof, right? And then, of course, Keon Sabb with the 2 interceptions. When you weight the teams in terms of the Pro Football Focus grades, pretty much even on the offensive side of the football. That was kind of interesting for me to see, right? You look at the overall on offense, overall on defense, on offense for Georgia, they're pretty much the same. Alabama 93.8, Georgia 92.4. You look at the defensive grade, that's where you see some differences, right? Alabama's defense 91.2, Georgia 83.9. Special teams looks like Alabama has the edge there as well. These are Alabama's next 5 games. You got Vanderbilt, who just took Missouri into overtime, South Carolina, at Tennessee, and their incredible quarterback, and then you take on Missouri. So, you know, the real season starts right now. I mean, all these teams have different elements which make it exciting games in the SEC. Of course, I think we're all looking forward to, you know, the game this weekend, but man, going up to Tennessee twice, those are opportunities. Angel, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Thank you so much. Jack is saying Travis Hunter playing good so far. Man, the guy's everywhere. Say what you want about Colorado and kind of all the drama that goes with it. That was exciting football. You know, Shadori Sanders throwing the Hail Mary, but Travis Hunter is like, it's crazy. If you've ever played football, to be able to go that many snaps, that's amazing. Has anybody, let me ask you this. Has anybody gone both ways for Bama? Who was the last player to like play? I don't know, not significant, but like who was like a two? Has Alabama? Did Coach Saban have like a two-way player? Right, you look at kind of the two-way players of college football. I mean, Champ Bailey kind of comes to mind, way back from Georgia. I don't know if Charles Woodson played any offense. Who am I missing? Top two-way players. I mean, Travis Hunter is like. No, Bryce, that's an amazing idea. It's having a Miss Terry and Terry. That would be such an amazing morning show. You imagine like the good vibes. That's why I like to come on in the morning, because I'm like, I try to be positive. I try to give you some of my energy. But like Miss Terry and Terry on, that sounds like a morning show with coffee. The ratings would be crazy. Diggs, okay. Trayvon Diggs. Because I remember when Trayvon Diggs got here, he was a receiver. And then Coach Saban was like, moved to DB, and then Trayvon went and made millions in the NFL, right? Wasn't Diggs also coached? I think he was coached by Mo Linquist with the Cowboys. I think there was a connection there. Sammy saying, does Terrence Cody? I saw a big lineman catch a touchdown last night for the Redskins, right? Or the Commanders. Trayvon Diggs, okay. Yeah, but I have to go and look at the stats to see how many snaps he played on each side of the football. D-Dub, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Heads up, my Friday show, I have a doctor's appointment on Friday at 9 a.m. So I'm pushing my Friday show to 12 p.m. That's when we'll do the score predictions. I appreciate you guys being here this morning right here on Bama Football on YouTube as we continue to talk about this marquee matchup between Alabama and Georgia. Here's a look at how the freshmen have fared before I bounce out. Ryan Williams crushing it, 4 touchdowns. Like balling. Xavier Brown, Jalen Mbakwe, Red Morgan, Caleb Odom. Oh, what a time to cover Alabama football. What an opportunity. And it's a great opportunity to be here in front of you guys today on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Please stay tuned for content as it's dropped. I'd appreciate you guys subscribing. Also, hey, Run the Tape. What's up, man? Hate that they have us as an underdog at home, but I love it. At the same time, keep giving us bullet to the board material. All you young guns, take it personal. Lank, Roll Tide, Devontae Smith, play cornerback and prevent D. What's up, Run the Table? Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Honestly. Same thing, to Kevin and Henry for the super chats today. Yeah, Coach Kalen DeBoer hit on kind of the Lank mentality right during his press conference, which I thought was dope. It's good to see him kind of growing as, getting more comfortable as a coach. But he always kind of seems comfortable in his own skin. The way that he handles himself as a man is very admirable in terms of his overall demeanor. I think he's a nice person. He's very genuine. But you've seen him get hot he was hot when those headsets weren't working. That was the first time. North Alabama storm chase on the back end with the buzzer beater saying, free Bryce Young. Yo, send Bryce to Miami. Seriously. Send him to Miami. Then I'd want Cheetah back on my fantasy football team. I just traded him. I knew Derrick Henry would be killing it with the Ravens. Like, who did not see that come? As soon as he went to the Ravens, I was like, pfft. Like, their defense is very good. Now, I know, they allowed some late scores by Dak, but, Derrick Henry still got miles on him. Are you kidding me? Oh, I love football, whether it's high school. I watch a game on Friday night, of course, on Saturday and on Sunday and on Monday. Like, on Thursday, too. Jimmy, you see what I'm saying? Send Bryce to Miami. Even if he's got, look, let's say Tua, I have no idea what's going to happen with Tua. Let's say he comes back, finishes out this year, sits down and decides to hang it up or whatever. Like, Bryce would fit great in that scheme with the weapons that he has, right? There's a lot of quarterbacks here like that would fit in well for that scheme. I just think with the quick strike ability from Bryce, I don't know. I feel that he would do really well in that offense. I mean, they got, like, Miami is built up. A-Chain at running back, right? Those who are talking about Derrick Henry don't have no idea what they're talking about. That dude is a beast. He went absolutely off against Cowboys. All right. All you fantasy football players, all right, I'm going to tell you this, okay? If you have not picked up Jawan Jennings for the 49ers and he is still available, go and get him immediately. He got me 44 points. Deebo Samuel's out. George Kittle's out, right? Brandon Ayuk, he's been playing okay. Go get Jawan Jennings. Absolutely balling out. Hey, I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you very much for joining the show. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you to all of you guys for tuning in, for liking, for subscribing. Honestly, just the support and just talking Alabama football. I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel as news happens. Remember, available on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and, of course, on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, of course, on X. My personal Instagram is just Mr. Kyle Henderson. If you want to, it's literally just like workout type stuff. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much. I have a lot of gratitude for being able to, come with it every single day. And I hope you guys know that every single show done from my heart. And I appreciate you guys more than you know. So for beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube, wishing you the best day. Stay blessed. Appreciate the blessings that you have and those people in your corner. And I will catch up with you soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Love you guys. Have an amazing day. Catch up with you.